Hey guys, Coach here. Hey, I wanted to take you on a bit of something different today. I want to take you on a walkabout. I am in the middle of a typical retirement. That's so funny. Retirement. I'm in the middle of a work day here around Brook and Pond. And what I have been doing is trying to put Humpty Dumpty back together again with the French drain project that I just completed. You can see that over on the YouTube channel. And now I'm going to take some of the driveway stone dust that we've got, and I'm going to do some finishing work. I'm going to do some finishing work along the long drain line across the driveway. A couple of places in the back that are obvious. I'm going to get some 1-inch crushed rock down on the driveway back by the firewood. We have some company coming in about a week, and I'm very, very eager to try and have this project done so that we can enjoy the company and not have something halfway finished. Have you ever been in that situation? The other thing I wanted to talk to you about is project momentum. And this may apply to some of you. It may not apply to a lot of you, depending on how entrenched in the DIY world you really are. Momentum in a project is everything. Getting out of the gate, the starting gate, getting across some of the real rough parts that may be involved, and then getting across the finish line. It really does, whether you're a DIYer or a professional, it's all about momentum and staying on point as far as daily punch lists, getting the job up and running by planning and budgeting and acquiring and sourcing. Doing all those steps makes the momentum almost carry itself, almost get you there, because every day you're punching out what you need to do tomorrow, and you've completed what you wrote down yesterday. And I'll tell you what, now I am obviously a guy, and I think like a guy, much to Maestro's chagrin. But I tend to do 1 or 2 tasks from start to finish. I don't get involved a lot with a whole lot of minutia projects. I don't operate that well under those conditions. So what we tackled here in the last month, we tackled drainage, and we just threw ourselves into it. And despite crappy rental equipment, we were able to punch this thing out in a couple of weeks, and then had that 123-foot stretch that was just a bear, it was a man killer. There was no way, my tools that I had, so we ended up getting an excavator with a rock breaker at a fairly reasonable price, and had Jared come in and bust that out. But had we stopped the momentum, if we had just said, you know what, this is just too hard, let's put the camper on the truck and let's go for a couple of weeks, and let's go enjoy here or there or whatever, and you just kind of, you take the easy way out, that easy way out will only be twice as hard when you return and try to take it up all over again. Immersing yourself into a project and scheduling your time, budgeting and applying resources to it, so that when that starting gate opens, you have everything on site, you've made arrangements with family and friends, you've been able to look at the project and be able to visualize it because you've put something down on paper, and as the project starts to evolve, it becomes almost self-directing. You can literally see the next step coming up because you've mentally, emotionally, and physically immersed yourself into this, so that it's just self-sustaining. It really is. And what we just got through doing this past week was finishing that little 23-foot stretch of hell And then we turned that excavator's attention to the backyard. And we weren't sure what we were going to find under the ground. We thought we'd find, oh, this whole backyard is nothing but ledgestone and we can't do anything with it. But aha, it wasn't. Yes, it is a rocky, loamy type of soil. And you'll see it in videos next week and the week after until we have it completed. But we were able to come into that backyard with the momentum that was created by having that piece of equipment on hand. Then we went out and we acquired another piece of equipment for ourselves. We ended up getting a almost 30-year-old John Deere 755 tractor. And this thing has a loader bucket on the front, a snow blower on the back, which for right now is just for weight countering. And I'm done at almost 66 years old shoveling into a wheelbarrow. So I have decided to invest in something like this. It wasn't super expensive, but it was expensive enough, let's just say that. And now we can move forward with what I thought we were going to do something else. Now we've created a backyard outdoor living area, and we have modernized it and regraded it. And now we're waiting on some boulders that we went out and selected from the quarry the other day. They should be here tomorrow, the 21st. And I can start placing boulders, and I can start bringing this Mount Everest of a hill that we've created from tailings and bring it down to the boulders, backfill this, get some decent loam in here and some planting mix, and start introducing some green to this hillside. And when that gets done, when things get planted and mulched and it has that finished look to it, is when you know it was the momentum that you had self-created that took you from start to finish. And you knew if someone came out and asked you a question, you knew exactly the answer to your project. It's not a, well, I don't know, I'm not sure, blah, blah, blah. Nah, you know what's coming up. You know, that 15-step checklist on the website, a whopping $4, with the accompanying podcast that goes through it with you, has been pretty popular. And it's a way to get that momentum going. A little bit of knowledge, a little bit of check off list, know where to start, know where the hard parts are, and know where the finish line is going to be. Might be worthy of you just tripping on over to youryardcoach.com and checking that out. It's not super expensive. There's also a seasonal checklist there for a couple of bucks, you know. But right now, we've been able to migrate from the very hot western part of our home, which was basically the outdoor living area. The previous owners, as what are you supposed to say? You're supposed to say bless their hearts before you smash them. Bless their hearts. They did put some improvements into this place, but as far as outdoor livability, they did not. And now, here's something you can look forward to. When you start to improve an area and you get it to a certain part of it, you will be naturally attracted to that area. The honeymoon effect is overwhelming. You'll want to get done, go in and shower and get cleaned up, have something to eat. Then you'll want to come back out and you look at what you completed that day. And today is a shining example. I mean, I got out here about 6:30 in the morning because we have had a heat wave of all heat waves here in the Northeast. We're normally about 72 degrees. Yesterday was 96, you know, and it was almost like being back in Central Valley of California again this time of year. And so I was out early yesterday and today for sure. And I just modernized the gravels that were here. And since we're on such a tight budget, what I made the outdoor living area out of is stone dust. Very fine gravels mixed with quarry dust. And it makes a very, very firm, compacted, you can walk on it with bare feet. And we have about, from our back wall of our house out to the hillside where the boulders are going to be, we've created probably 14 finished feet of usability. And before, there was no usability back here at all. And next week, when you watch it on the channel, which I hope you find time to do, you will see the lack of usability. It was basically a dog run that had horrible topography. It had what I lovingly refer to as a piss rug coming off the back porch area where the dogs just pissed on it. And it had some ill-placed cobblestones and some paper roll wrap down on it. And it was just fugly. There's just no two ways about it. It's just ugly and it wasn't usable. That's why we were always out front. And during this time of year, out front is the western exposure, western and southwestern exposure, the hottest part. And yesterday, putting a thermometer out there was 112 degrees at ground level. And in the backyard at about 6 o'clock, maybe 5:30, the shade cast of the house almost covered this entire patio area. And there was a hint of a breeze, and it had cooled off enough that we both went, man, I can't wait till you get all that stone dust in today, and we can put a couple of chairs out there, and we can barbecue some chicken, and we can sit down and have a glass of wine. And that's what an outdoor living area that you do yourself from start to finish, that's what you create. And I think when we get some green in the ground, and I find some other colors to mix in with the charcoal gray of the stone and the gravels and the boulders, it's going to really make this backyard truly an enjoyable place to come in. And another thing that has come to mind, should we, for some reason, have more than one company over here, this whole back patio can accommodate an RV. And our driveway heading down towards the pond, it can accommodate another RV without any problem. So there's a little multifunctional vibe going on here, and we didn't have to get into the cost of paver stones up here in zone 4 where you have to excavate down 12 plus inches and do a clear gravel base, and then it was going to be a tremendous amount of work at an exorbitant cost that I just can't afford. So we're doing it this way, and something that I think that is very pleasing to me, not just saving $1, but if I've created a multifunctional area that not only accommodates an outdoor living area, but put the chairs away or something, someone comes over with a camper or a tent or whatever, they could put it right out here and plop down, spend a couple of days, enjoy themselves, and hey, I think that's a win-win. Now, for the remainder of today, it's not as hot as yesterday. It's in the mid-80s today, which is still a solid 10 to 12 degrees over the norm. We finally see some relief coming up tonight, and then the next few days it tapers off even more. And finally we get a little bit of rain this weekend and into Monday, which my front lawn could really use right now. It's I've let it grow up to kind of shade that root zone a bit, but it's not wilting and it's not dried out, but I know it's stressing. So I'm hoping some water comes in here, because there's no sprinklers here. There's none whatsoever. So let's recap this just a little bit. Where do you guys get stuck on a project? Maybe you've sat down and talked with your significant and you've said, man, we could really use a blah, 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 or a such and such, or a this and that, and yet it never seems to launch. Is it because of direction? Is it because you're just not sure and landscaping and design is not your forte? Man, I certainly get all of that. I get it tremendously. And I'd offer my services to you if you think it's worth it. You know, a quick email on simple questions. I have the consulting if you need something bigger and lengthier in time. I even do online designing now, where you can send me multiple pictures and you'd be able to get a professional design, conceptual design done and put into your hands virtually, and maybe that's enough to take off. That's something to get started. So think about that, youryardcoach.com. Well, for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring one of my big spruce stumps over here, which is AKA cocktail table, and set it up here between our lawn chairs. The barbecue's already out, the charcoal's ready to go. I did some cleaning up on the back porch. You can actually get through the back porch now. I scrubbed everything, got rid of all the fly speck on the doors. Yeah, the people that own this place, have you ever had previous owner syndrome? Like, what the hell were you thinking type of owner? That's who we bought the place from. They didn't use it full time. They used it part time, recreationally, snowmobile season mainly, and that was about it. And they did put some dollars in the inside of the house, but they complicated the outside. But it fit their bill, I guess, and what are you going to do? It worked for them. It certainly does not work for Maestro and I. We are neat, organized people. When we bought this place and walked in the first day, previous owners were so kind to leave a whole tin bucket full of dog crap for us. Yeah, I know, maybe they just forgot it. I get it, but it just kind of lends itself to exactly what kind of people they were. So, hey, I'm glad you took a few minutes. Let's get a project underway for you guys this year. Think of something small. Don't think of something monumental, especially if you're both out there pumping 40 hours a week. That sometimes is more that you can bite off, that you shouldn't. You shouldn't. Start with something small. Build your confidence. Save your resources. Do it in cash if you can possibly help it. Don't do second mortgages and credit cards and all that other stuff unless you guys have that kind of bank account that allows you to do it. But you still enjoy the DIY part of a landscaping project. And do something simple. Maybe do 2 or 3 raised beds for vegetable gardening. Or 2 or 3 raised beds for berries, because maybe your soil is kind of like mine and it's really hard to plant in. So you have to think about raised beds. Do an annual corner in your back patio or out front where you really create some wow factor and some seasonal color that'll really kick off the rest of the summer very, very nicely. Think about the pets, think about the kids. What could they use besides just grass? Would there be something else you could create that would beautify that backyard, make the front yard really pop in one way or another? And then send me a picture of it, youryardcoach@gmail.com. I'd love to share it on the channel. I'd love to share it on the podcast. And I think it would be great to expand the community to where not only can I reach out and help somebody who gets stuck, but the rest of the community can too. And I think that's very, very beneficial. A team approach to it will always be a heck of a lot more valuable than just a solo Lobo who doesn't always have exactly the roadmap mapped out just yet. And we were all there at one time. We were. So, my almost 90-degree day has taken quite a stressor on some of the nursery plants that we bought. I've had to water twice today already. Hostas are not a big fan, despite the humidity up here right now, aren't a big fan of 90+ degree heat. And my peonies plants, yeah, they need to get strung up a little bit and supported, but they're out here on a gravel driveway and they're not super happy either. So I am only a click away, only an email away if you need some help. And follow along on the channel. Follow along on Facebook and Instagram as well. But the YouTube channel is where I primarily put a lot of my educational efforts into, and watch the backyard come to life over the next couple of weeks. I appreciate your time. As always, to your landscape success. I will catch you guys next week. Thanks for taking a few minutes, whatever you were doing. Bye for now.
Hey friends, Maestro here. Please check out the description for this podcast, where you will find important links related to this video, as well as links to the website, discounts, and much more. Also, don't forget, Yard Coach now offers personalized consultations to help you get your project launched and completed, or just answer your specific landscaping questions on a personalized level. See the website at youryardcoach.com for more details.